Hello and welcome to a live news update. I am Tanti Azal. Let's take a look at the headlines. Buhari to convene Emergency Council of State meeting on Friday. Supreme Court suspends February 10th CBN deadline. Biden challenges Republicans on debt and economy. On sports, Anthony Joshua says he is mentally ready to fight Franklin.
This is Alive TV.
Thanks for joining. President Muhammadu Buhari will convene an Emergency Council of State meeting on Friday to discuss the current crisis affecting the nation. Issues suspected to be discussed at the meeting are naira scarcity, petrol shortage, and insecurity ahead of general elections. The meeting, which will be held at the Council Chambers Presidential Villa, Abuja at 10 a.m., will also discuss the protests arising from the naira scarcity in various parts of the country. The meeting will take major decisions to douse tension ahead of elections and avert a potential national crisis given anger over the scarcity of new naira notes. It was gathered that the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, will provide an update on the new currency design policy to the Council of State. Also, the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, and the Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba, are expected to brief the council on the preparation for the forthcoming elections. The National Council of State is an organ of the Nigerian government whose functions include advising the executive on policy making. The Supreme Court has restrained the federal government from enforcing the Central Bank of Nigeria's February 10th deadline for the swap of old naira notes. A 7-member panel of justices presided by Justice John Inyang Okoro in a unanimous ruling on Wednesday restrained both the federal government and the CBN, ordered commercial banks and other financial institutions must not continue to transact with the old notes pending the determination of the motion at the Apex Court on February 15th. The order followed issued by 3 state governments of Kaduna, Kogi, and Zamfara states challenging the currency redesigning and demonetization policy. Let's go on a short break, and when we are back, a live TV analyst Olubenga George will join us in the studio to discuss on some of the direct effects of the whole naira note policy on the citizens of Nigeria.
This is Alive TV.
You're welcome back. We have Olubenga already in the studio, and just as I've said, we will be talking about some of the effects that the new naira policy has, brought on the Nigerian citizens. Olubenga, of course, as you know, as a Nigerian citizen, you know all that has been happening in the nation. Talking about let's start from bill scarcity, and then it now comes down to the money scarcity. That's the naira scarcity, because of the policy and then the deadline and all that, we need, as Nigerians, we need to follow. And people have been lamenting about a lot of things that they feel is not really, convenient for them, which is, the scarcity of money, and then some of the things, negative, both negative and positive. Of course, we know this policy might be a very good policy for us, but some people are saying the timing is not right, or some people are saying, so many things are not put in place. We are not ready for this policy because so many Nigerians are suffering, especially, those who are, of course, on the lower level. They are the ones facing all the challenges, and they've been lamenting a lot. And as an analyst, I would want you, to say your own perspective on this very issue.
I think it's an interesting time that we're in. Whenever we talk about citizens and then we exclude ourselves, I wonder who we're really referring to.
Of course, when you say citizens, we are all citizens of Nigeria.
Citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And I mean by that statement that no matter who you are, except for a very small percentage, of the Nigerian population, we are all feeling the burns, we are all feeling the pains, we are all feeling the pinches of the current policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria and the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. You spoke about the fact that maybe it has a lot of things that advantages that, well, let me begin with the advantages first of all. I think it's important that we understand this time that trading, digitally, digital banking, and all of that is something that is obtainable across the world. However, Nigeria is a country that, is very, very Western in nature. I used to say that before now. We have a large percentage of people who, now do their lives on their mobile phones. There are quite a number of persons. Yes, we must also not deny the fact that in the hinterlands and in the rural areas and communities, they may not be tech savvy to be able to use some of these devices. But again, I always say from the perspective that if we are going to make a change doesn't come easy. If you are going to move positively in the positive direction, it won't come easy. There is no time if we allow it this way for the next 10 years. You would realize that Nigerians will still not, some Nigerians, let me put it that way, will still not follow the deadline. They still will not do this. They still will not move
still will
there.
not be ready for
Yes,
the policy.
the society, and what this does is that it sets the society back. So you have a society that is upwardly mobile, that is moving forward. Then you have a select few who say, we can't cope with this. So we'll always have to consider the minority, even though in democracy, the will of the majority must prevail. But having said that, it means, or it goes to tell that the CBN's Naira swap policy is an acceptable one, and there is no wrong timing. However, where it becomes wrong is because of the inability of the central bank to have thought this through. If you look at it, in my own view, it looks like something that wasn't preempted per se. Because if the central bank governor, he's been in this office for more than 5 years now. So if this was something that had been in the plan, over time, you'd have discovered that in October, when that policy was rolled out, when it was rolled out and Nigerians were warned, you would have thought maybe it would have come a year before that or 2 years before that. Then you'll have also seen that to cushion the effect, that the central bank, in partnership and collaboration with the federal government, may have planned some, cushioning effects to ensure that the people do not feel the pangs and the pains, of this decision. This decision is very critical in our national history, and especially because it is coming at a time when we are getting close to elections. Elections, as of today, is just 16 days away, which means that in 16 days' time, we will be confronting one of the most historic moments of our nationhood as a people. So, does this policy come at the right time, like you said? Well, that is where the question is. It could have happened. The CBN could have prepared the Nigerian people more by creating effect. They talked about deploying 30,000 agents, to communities and all of that, to ensure that all of these people inform the rural dwellers. But the question that I keep asking is, how many Nigerians do we have? How many of them live in the rural areas? How many of them live in the urban cities? These are things that, the central bank should have put in place before throwing everybody, into the agony and the unpalatable situation where we currently find ourselves in the country. You have money, you can't access your money, you go to the bank, you are given 5,000 naira or 10,000 naira with some dejected and degenerated polymer notes. It's so annoying, I must tell you. It's so despicable. The fact that people cannot access their money at this time, when things are very critical. Do not forget, you started from the background of fuel scarcity. So we've always had to kill for fuel. Now we have to kill for money.
All right, Olubenga, I want us to talk about, like I said, the effects of this very policy on people, especially those Nigerian people who are actually, of the low level, just as I said. So many of these people are struggling day by day to look for their livelihood. And then, just when I was coming to the office this morning, I was listening on radio on the news where a man died because he went to get 5,000 naira. He knows how he got that 5,000 naira, but he went to the POS to get the 5,000 naira out, and then they charged him 2,000 naira for 5,000 naira. Do you know this man slumped and died even before he got home? So you hear this kind of instances and a lot more. There were people. There's an POS center where someone was, his hands were cut off and all that. So many violence out there. You will go to the bank, so many things are happening. Nigerians are very angry, even though sometimes I just feel like Nigerians are unrepentant on some kind of things they do. Talking about how we keep blaming the government when things go wrong, but we as Nigerians also are not helping the matter. People are putting more money on things that they are not supposed to put, and people are cheating people on things they are not supposed to cheat. Maybe if somebody is supposed to give you money, the person will tell you the POS is not the bank network is not working, even though before now the networks were good, but right now when the money is scarce, also the transfer, the cashless society that we are trying to adopt, the system is also failing us because so many banks now, even when you try to transfer to people, it doesn't go, and then people are making use of the situation to also cheat and then not do the right thing as they are supposed to do.
Yeah, obviously, that's one thing with Nigerians. I wouldn't know what you were going to refer to by saying we are unrepentant about.
We are repentant because most times we
No,
keep
I understand. I'm trying to just use your word. Say, when you use the word unrepentant, I'm trying to say that in so many ways, Nigerians are very, very they could be understanding on one side, and on the other hand, you find out that Nigerians could be callous, and that situation has brought upon us. But I've looked at this and looked at it critically, and when you realize what they have to go through, especially look at West people. Let's first of all state, because you're talking about the problems. One of the problems, the challenges that this has brought forward, is a lot of people are out of job and livelihood right now. Because if you agree with me, you would realize that before now, before this policy came to the shore, you saw a lot of people who had the opportunity to sit down, exchange some naira, and make 100 naira, 200 naira, 500 naira from transactions here and there. That is what they live by on a daily basis. Now, most of these businesses are closed if you check the country. Most of them are closed across everywhere. Here in the FCT, and then from fits that we keep getting every day. So this is one of the challenges. Who is going to employ these people? And when there is no employment for them, what are they going to feed on when they do not feed on? We have been complaining about security. We know how we are in where insecurity is concerned in this country, and we're only giving giving rise to more insecurity in the country. When people lose their jobs, be certain that violence and corruption and crime will be on the increase. So one of the effects. I also feel that we cannot totally blame them, because a lot of people have to go the extra mile. People go the extra mile to be able to make this cash available. Because let's think of it. The monies are not available on ATM machines because of the long queues. So it means that some of them that has access to that money have probably had to spend the night at the ATM machine. Else how do you get it? When you look at it, some people are there 5 a.m. at the ATM machines to get some cash. So when they come to do business, they have to put that into consideration. I still want to plead that they should please be merciful and realize that we are all in the same problem. It's so disturbing, especially when you see that you are going to withdraw, all you had is 10,000, and then somebody is going to take 2,000 or 3,000, for nothing. I mean, you struggle in the first place. So for somebody to be taking 3,000, even more than the tax, it's more than tithes that people pay in church. I mean, it's crazy. So they should. I want to plead on behalf of Nigerians that we should be our keepers. We are neighbors. We are each other's neighbors. And whatever challenge happens to one, happens to all. So the people in this line of business should please be considerate on fellow Nigerians like that. We know it's hard, and we are hoping I will get this message.
Of course, we are hoping to get out of this messy situation. Thank you, Olubenga, for being here.
It's been a pleasure.
We really appreciate you.
This is Alive TV.
To ensure the emergence of Bola Ahmed Tinubu as Nigeria's president in 2023, door-to-door campaigns to win grassroots support for the All Progressives Congress candidate in different states and wards commenced. The group, led by the Honorable Minister of Sports and Youth Development Chief Sunday Akindare in Bodija Market, Ibadan, Oyo State Capital, to educate Nigerians on reasons Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the right person to rescue Nigeria from the chaos it's in at the moment. On the foreign story, President Joe Biden has challenged Republicans to leave the U.S. debt ceiling and support tax policies that were friendlier to middle-class Americans on Tuesday in a State of the Union speech that served as a blueprint for his 2024 re-election campaign. Making his first address to a joint session of Congress since Republicans took control of the House of Representatives in January, Biden pledged to work with opposition lawmakers, even as he sped with them in the chamber. He says if we could work together in last Congress, there is no reason we can't work together and find consensus on important things in this Congress as well. He then urged lawmakers to stand up for senior citizens, which they did, prompting Biden to claim victory. Lastly, in sports, Nigerian-born British boxer Anthony Joshua has stressed that he is mentally ready to return to the ring in April, almost a year after going on a sabbatical. In August 2022, Anthony Joshua tasted a bitter defeat at the hands of world champion Alexander Usyk, to whom he lost all his titles in September 2021. Since then, the former British heavyweight champion has gone underground trying to dust off the back-to-back beatings he suffered from Usyk. His return to the ring has been confirmed, and his first test in his return to the ring will be against 29-year-old American boxer Jermaine Franklin at the O2 Arena in London on April 1st. Ahead of must-win bouts for Joshua, the Nigerian-born British boxer has said he would put up a show and impress his coaching crew. Thanks for watching. I remain Tante Azal.